Vanish Without a Trace, a gripping novel that will take you on a journey of mystery, suspense, and unexpected twists. Follow the lone survivor as they search for answers to the disappearance of an entire town and uncover a dark secret that will leave you speechless. Don't miss out on this thrilling ride. Don't miss to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest news and releases. Chapter 1: Vanish Without a Trace. As I walked down Main Street, I couldn't help but feel a sense of emptiness. It was as if the town had never existed, despite the buildings and signs that remained. I had returned from a weekend trip to find that every resident, all 8,000 of them, had vanished without a trace. The eerie silence was only broken by the sound of my footsteps echoing through the empty streets. I began my search at the local police station, hoping to find some answers. But all I found were empty desks and abandoned files. It was as if the officers had vanished in the middle of their work. As I continued my search, I realized that there was no evidence of a struggle or forced evacuation. It was as if everyone had simply disappeared into thin air. I knew I had to find some answers, and fast. As I walked back to my car, I noticed a faint glow coming from the abandoned factory on the edge of town. I cautiously approached the entrance, my heart pounding in my chest. I stepped inside, and what I saw next was beyond anything I could have imagined. Chapter 2: A Lone Survivor Search. Inside the factory, I found a group of survivors huddled together in fear. They were just as confused as I was, and we quickly exchanged stories about what had happened. It seemed that we were the only ones left in the town, and we were all desperate for answers. As we continued our search, we found more and more evidence that something sinister had been happening in the town. We discovered hidden rooms and secret passageways, all leading to the same conclusion: the town had been keeping a dark secret. We knew we had to stick together if we were going to survive and uncover the truth. And so, we formed a makeshift community, sharing resources and information to help each other survive. It was a fragile alliance, but it was our only hope in this new, terrifying reality. Days turned into weeks, and we continued to search for any clues as to what had happened to the rest of the town. But every lead turned out to be a dead end. It was as if the town had been wiped off the face of the earth. Despite our struggles, we refused to give up. We knew that there was something more to this disappearance, and we were determined to uncover the truth. We would not rest until we found out what had happened to the rest of our community. Chapter 3: Uncovering the Town's Secrets. One day, while exploring the town's abandoned library, we stumbled upon a hidden room. Inside, we found a series of journals and documents that revealed the town's dark history. One of the survivors, a retired history professor named Dr. Williams, began to read aloud from the journals. In the early 1900s, the town was home to a secret organization called the Order, he said. Their aim was to keep the town pure, by any means necessary. Another survivor, a former journalist named Lisa, spoke up. But what does that have to do with the disappearance? She asked. Dr. Williams continued reading. The Order was responsible for the disappearance of anyone who they deemed to be a threat to their way of life. They were ruthless, and would stop at nothing to maintain their control over the town. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could such a dark and twisted organization have been allowed to exist for so long? And how had we never known about it? We need to find out more about the Order, I said. Maybe there are still some clues left in the town. But how do we know who to trust? Another survivor, a former police officer named Jake, asked. For all we know, one of us could be a member of the Order. The room fell silent as we all considered Jake's words. It was a sobering thought, but we knew that we couldn't let our suspicions tear us apart. We had to work together, no matter what. Chapter 4. The First Shocking Discovery. As we continued to search for clues about the Order and their involvement in the town's disappearance, we stumbled upon a hidden room in one of the abandoned houses. Inside, we found a large map of the town with various locations marked in red. "What do you think this means?" Lisa asked, pointing to one of the markings on the map. "I'm not sure," I replied, "but we should investigate these locations and see if there's anything there that can help us." Our first stop was the abandoned hospital on the edge of town. As we entered the building, we were hit with a stench of decay. The hospital had been abandoned for years, but it was clear that something had happened here more recently. As we made our way through the halls, we came across a room that had been sealed shut with heavy chains. We worked together to break through the chains and open the door, and what we found inside left us speechless. There were dozens of bodies stacked in the room, all of them with the same blank expression on their faces. It was clear that they had all died under mysterious circumstances. "What the hell is going on here?" Jake exclaimed. "We need to keep looking," I said. "There has to be more to this than just a room full of bodies." As we continued our search, we discovered more and more evidence of the Order's presence in the town. We found secret hideouts, weapons caches, and even a hidden laboratory where they had been conducting experiments on the townspeople. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. Chapter 5. An Unsettling Encounter. As we continued to search for answers about the Order, we stumbled upon a group of survivors who were not part of our community. They were armed and dangerous, and it was clear that they did not want us there. "What are you doing here?" one of them demanded. "We're just trying to figure out what happened to our town," Lisa replied, trying to calm the situation. "The town is gone," the man said, "and you should leave before you end up like the rest of them." We tried to reason with them, but they were not interested in hearing our story. As we turned to leave, they attacked us. We fought back with all our might, but it was clear that they had the upper hand. They were better armed and better trained than we were. Just when we thought all hope was lost, a group of strangers appeared out of nowhere and joined the fight. They were skilled fighters, and they quickly turned the tide of the battle in our favor. When the dust had settled, we were left standing with our newfound allies. "Who are you?" I asked, grateful for their help. "We're a group of survivors who have been fighting against the Order for years," one of them replied. "We know what they're capable of, and we're not going to let them win." It was clear that we had found allies in our fight against the Order, but we also knew that the danger was far from over. Chapter 6. The Missing Pieces of the Puzzle. After the encounter with the hostile survivors, we realized that we needed more information about the Order if we were going to have any chance of stopping them. We decided to investigate the town's archives, hoping to find some documents or records that could shed some light on their activities. The archives were located in the town hall, which was one of the few buildings still standing. As we entered the building, we were struck by the eerie silence. It was clear that no one had been there for a long time. We searched through the old documents and records, looking for anything that might be useful. Most of the records were mundane, but then we came across something that caught our attention. It was a ledger book, filled with entries about the town's finances. But as we looked closer, we realized that some of the entries were not about money at all. They were code words, referring to illegal activities that the Order had been involved in. "This is it," I said excitedly. "This is what we've been looking for." As we continued to search through the records, we found more and more evidence of the Order's wrongdoing. It was clear that they had been involved in everything from human trafficking to money laundering. But as we dug deeper, we realized that there was something even more sinister going on. The Order had been experimenting on the townspeople, using them as test subjects for their twisted research. "This is insane," Lisa said, shaking her head in disbelief. "We need to get this information out to the world," Jake said. "We need to expose the Order for what they are." But we knew that it wouldn't be easy. The Order was powerful, and they would do everything in their power to keep their secrets safe. Chapter 7: A Dark History Unveiled. As we continued to uncover more about the Order's activities, we realized that their influence had reached far beyond our small town. They had been operating in secret for years, using their vast resources to cover their tracks and silence anyone who stood in their way. But we were determined to bring them to justice. We spent hours poring over the documents we had found, trying to piece together the puzzle of their dark history. As we dug deeper, we found evidence of their involvement in some of the most heinous crimes imaginable. They had been responsible for countless murders, kidnappings, and other atrocities, all in the name of their twisted beliefs. "They're not just a cult," Jake said, his voice filled with anger. "They're a criminal organization." We knew that we couldn't take them on alone. We needed help. "We have to get this information to the authorities," Lisa said. "But how do we know who we can trust?" I asked. "We need to find someone who can help us," Jake said. "Someone who knows how to take down an organization like this." As we continued our search for allies, we stumbled upon an unexpected source of help. A former member of the Order, who had left the cult years ago, contacted us. She had seen our efforts to expose the cult and wanted to help in any way she could. We met with her in a secluded location outside of town, where she shared with us her knowledge of the cult's inner workings. She provided us with a list of names and addresses of high-ranking members, as well as details of their meetings and operations. We were grateful for her help, but we knew that our mission was still dangerous. The Order was not going to give up without a fight. "We need to be careful," Lisa warned. "They'll be watching us now." "We have to keep moving," Jake said. "We can't let them catch us." With the new information and our newfound ally, we continued our investigation. We spent long nights poring over documents and conducting surveillance on the cult's members. As we gathered more evidence, we realized that we had enough to take them down. We contacted the authorities, providing them with all of the information we had gathered. A massive raid was conducted on the cult's headquarters, resulting in the arrest of dozens of members, including the cult's leader. In the aftermath of the raid, the town began to slowly recover. Families were reunited, and people began to rebuild their lives. But the scars of the cult's actions would never fully heal. The town would always carry the weight of the dark history that had been uncovered. Chapter 8: The Unexpected Turn of Events. The town was starting to return to normalcy after the arrest of the Order's members. But something strange was happening. There were rumors of strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena. I had heard whispers of strange figures wandering the streets at night, and eerie noises coming from the abandoned houses. At first, I brushed it off as paranoia, but as the days went by, the rumors only grew. One night, as I was walking home from work, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A figure, dressed in black, was standing in the middle of the road. As I approached, it disappeared into thin air. I tried to tell myself that it was just my imagination, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. I met up with Jake and Lisa to discuss what was happening. They too had noticed the strange occurrences in town. "We have to find out what's going on," Jake said. "But how?" Lisa asked. "We don't even know where to start." As we pondered our next move, we received an unexpected visitor. It was the former member of the Order who had helped us before. "There's something you need to see," she said cryptically. We followed her to a hidden room in the woods, where she revealed a shocking truth. "The cult was not the only organization operating in this town," she said. "There's another group, far more sinister and powerful than the Order ever was." She showed us a set of files detailing the organization's activities, including experiments on human subjects and attempts to create superhumans. "We have to stop them," I said, feeling a sense of dread wash over me. "But how?" Jake asked. "I have a plan," the former member said. "But it's dangerous, and we'll need all the help we can get." As she outlined her plan, I knew that it was our only chance to stop this organization and put an end to the strange occurrences in our town. Chapter 9. The Sinister Truth Revealed. We set our plan in motion, gathering our allies and preparing for a confrontation with the mysterious organization. We knew that we were risking everything, but we had to stop them before they caused any more harm to our town. The former member of the Order had provided us with a map of the organization's underground facility, and we spent days studying it, planning our attack. Finally, the day arrived. We donned our gear and made our way to the entrance of the facility. As we descended into the depths of the underground complex, we could feel the weight of our mission bearing down on us. We were no longer just a group of amateur investigators. We were soldiers in a war against an unknown enemy. As we made our way through the maze of corridors, we encountered guards and obstacles, but we fought our way through, determined to reach our objective. Finally, we reached the heart of the complex, where we discovered the true nature of the organization's experiments. They had been attempting to create a race of superhumans, using a combination of genetic manipulation and advanced technology. But their experiments had gone horribly wrong, resulting in grotesque mutations and psychological instability in their subjects. We knew that we had to put an end to their twisted experiments, and we engaged in a fierce battle with the organization's forces. In the end, we emerged victorious, but not without casualties. We had lost some of our allies in the fight, but we had succeeded in putting an end to the organization's operations. As we emerged from the underground facility, we were greeted by a new dawn. The sun was rising over the town, and for the first time in months, there was a sense of hope in the air. But we knew that the scars of the organization's experiments would never fully heal. The town would carry the weight of their sins for years to come. Chapter 10. A Race Against Time. With the organization finally defeated, the town slowly began to heal. But we knew that there was still one loose end that needed to be tied up the mysterious figure who had been causing the strange occurrences in town. We had heard rumors that this figure was in possession of a powerful artifact, one that could potentially cause catastrophic damage if it fell into the wrong hands. We had to find this figure and retrieve the artifact before it was too late. We didn't have much to go on, but we pieced together some clues and began our search. It was a race against time, as we knew that the figure was planning something big, and we had to stop them before it was too late. Our search led us to an old abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. As we approached, we could see the figure standing on the rooftop, holding the artifact. We knew that we had to act fast, so we charged towards the warehouse, hoping to catch the figure off guard. But as we entered the building, we were met with a barrage of gunfire. We returned fire, but it was clear that the figure was prepared for our attack. As the battle raged on, we realized that we were outmatched. We were running out of ammo, and our injuries were starting to take their toll. But we couldn't give up. We had come too far to fail now. In a desperate move, I charged towards the figure, hoping to catch them off guard. But they were ready for me, and we engaged in a fierce hand-to-hand battle. In the end, I managed to disarm the figure and retrieve the artifact. We emerged from the warehouse, battered and bruised, but victorious. We had saved the town once again, but we knew that the scars of our battles would never fully heal. Chapter 11. The Final Confrontation. With the artifact in our possession, we knew that our mission was almost complete. But we still had one more loose end to tie up the mysterious figure who had been causing so much chaos in the town. We tracked them down to an old abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. As we approached, we could see them standing in the center of the factory floor, waiting for us. We knew that this would be our final confrontation, and we were prepared for anything. The figure spoke in a calm, collected voice. "You've come a long way to get here. But do you really think you can stop me?" We replied confidently. "We have the artifact. It's over." The figure laughed. "You think that artifact is going to save you? You have no idea what you're dealing with." They then proceeded to reveal their true identity, someone we had never suspected. It was a shocking revelation, and we realized that we had been played all along. But we couldn't let our guard down. We engaged in a fierce battle with the figure, fighting tooth and nail to gain the upper hand. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the figure was using some sort of dark magic. We were outmatched, and we knew that we had to find a way to stop them before it was too late. In a desperate move, we used the artifact to create a powerful shield, deflecting the figure's magic back at them. The figure let out a piercing scream and disappeared into thin air. We knew that we had won, but we also knew that the danger was not completely over. The town would never be the same again. We had been through so much, and we had lost so much. But we had also gained something, a newfound sense of strength and resilience. As we emerged from the factory, we were greeted by a bright, new day. The sun was shining, and there was a sense of peace in the air. We knew that the scars of our battles would never fully heal, but we also knew that we had saved the town from an even darker fate. Chapter 12. Desperate Measures. With the figure defeated, we thought that our troubles were over. But we were wrong. As we made our way back to the town, we noticed that something was off. There was a strange energy in the air, and it felt like the town was on the brink of collapse. When we arrived, we were greeted by a scene of chaos. The townspeople were in a panic, and it was clear that something terrible had happened. We immediately set out to investigate, and what we found was horrifying. The figure had left behind a curse that was slowly but surely draining the life force from the town. We knew that we had to act fast. We had to find a way to break the curse before it was too late. But the curse was unlike anything we had ever seen before. It was powerful, and it seemed like it was only getting stronger. We tried everything we could think of, but nothing seemed to work. Time was running out, and we knew that we had to take desperate measures. We decided to use the artifact one last time, to channel its power and break the curse once and for all. It was a risky move, and we knew that it could come with dire consequences. But we also knew that we had no other choice. As we channeled the power of the artifact, we could feel its energy coursing through us. It was like nothing we had ever experienced before, a raw, unbridled power that could change the course of history. But then something unexpected happened. As the artifact's power flowed through us, it started to change us. We could feel ourselves becoming something different, something more. We knew that we had to finish the job before it was too late. With a final burst of energy, we broke the curse and saved the town. But we also knew that we could never go back to the way things were before. We had been forever changed by the power of the artifact, and we would have to find a way to live with our newfound strength. Chapter 13. The Last Hope. With the curse broken and the town saved, we thought that our journey was over. But we soon realized that there was still one more task left to complete. We needed to find a way to ensure that nothing like this ever happened again. We needed to find a way to protect the town from any future threats. We knew that we couldn't do it alone. We needed help, and we needed it fast. We scoured the town, looking for anyone who might be able to assist us. We spoke to everyone we could find, but no one seemed to have the knowledge or the expertise that we needed. Just when we thought that all hope was lost, we stumbled upon an old book in the town's library. It was a book of ancient lore, filled with stories and legends of powerful guardians who could protect entire towns from harm. We knew that this was our last hope. We had to find a way to summon these guardians and convince them to help us. We studied the book for days, poring over its pages and trying to decipher its secrets. And finally, we found what we were looking for. There was a ritual that could be performed to summon the guardians. It was dangerous, and it required a great deal of power and sacrifice, but we knew that it was our only hope. We gathered together everything we needed for the ritual: candles, incense, and an ancient artifact that we had found in the ruins of the old church. As we began the ritual, we could feel the power coursing through us once again. But this time, it was different. This time, we were in control. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the guardians appeared before us. They were magnificent creatures, towering over us with wings of fire and eyes that blazed with a fierce intensity. We explained our situation to them, and they listened carefully. And then, without a word, they spread their wings and flew off into the night. We didn't know what they were doing, but we trusted that they would do what was needed to protect the town. And when they returned, they brought with them a powerful spell, that would create a protective barrier around the town, shielding it from any harm that might come its way. We thanked the guardians for their help, and then watched in amazement as they disappeared into the night once again. We knew that the town was safe now, and that we could finally rest easy. But we also knew that we would never forget the journey that had brought us here, and the sacrifices that had been made along the way. Chapter 14. The Price of Redemption. Months had passed since the town was saved, and life had returned to normal. But for me, the lone survivor, things were far from normal. The memories of what had happened haunted me day and night. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was somehow responsible for what had occurred. I decided to seek redemption for what I had done, and I knew that it wouldn't be easy. I started by apologizing to everyone in the town. I told them that I was sorry for my part in what had happened, and I begged for their forgiveness. Most people were willing to forgive me, but there were some who refused. They saw me as a symbol of the tragedy that had befallen the town, and they could never forget or forgive what had happened. I knew that I couldn't change the past, but I could try to make amends for it. I started volunteering at the town's community center, helping out with events and programs. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And slowly but surely, people began to see me in a different light. They saw that I was genuinely trying to make things right, and they began to forgive me. But there was one person who I knew would never forgive me, the mother of the young girl who had died in the tragedy. I had tried to apologize to her, but she had refused to even speak to me. I understood her pain and her anger, but I couldn't help feeling that I needed to do something to make things right. One day, I received a letter from her. She wrote that she had been watching me, and she had seen how hard I was trying to make amends. She wrote that she didn't know if she could ever forgive me, but she was willing to try. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, but I was grateful for the opportunity to try and make things right. And so, I continued on my path of redemption, trying to right the wrongs of the past and make a better future for the town and its people. I knew that it would be a long and difficult journey, but I was determined to see it through to the end. Chapter 15. The Unexpected End. As I walked down the street, I couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. The town had healed, and so had I. The scars of the tragedy would never fully fade, but we had all learned to live with them. But as I turned the corner, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Standing in front of me was a man who looked exactly like the one who had come to the town all those months ago. The man who had brought the darkness with him. My heart raced as I tried to comprehend what I was seeing. Was this some kind of sick joke? Had the nightmare returned? But as the man walked towards me, I saw that there was something different about him. His face was softer, his eyes kinder. He looked like a completely different person. "Hello," he said, extending his hand. "My name is David. I'm new in town." I shook his hand, still feeling uneasy. I thought you were someone else." David smiled. "I get that a lot. People say I look like someone they used to know." I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something familiar about him. But as we talked, I began to see that he was truly a different person. He was kind and gentle, with a warmth that was infectious. As we parted ways, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. The darkness had not returned. It was just a coincidence that this man looked like the one who had brought it with him. But as I walked home, I saw something that made my heart stop. A small girl was playing in the park, and she looked exactly like the one who had died in the tragedy. My mind raced as I tried to comprehend what was happening. And then I saw her mother, standing nearby and watching her daughter play. She looked up and saw me, and our eyes met. I knew then that the nightmare would never truly be over. The scars would never fully fade, and the memories would never completely go away. But as I looked at the mother and daughter, I saw something else. I saw hope. I saw a future where the town could heal and move on. I smiled at the mother, and she smiled back. And in that moment, I knew that we could face whatever challenges lay ahead together. I know that some of the best story ideas come from you. Feel free to share your story ideas in the comments section below.